What's the story on this guy, Sean?
He hit up the coach and said he had like 200 street fights and like he's gonna f a lot of guys up.
The history of the mixed style is rich and vast as martial arts themselves. It has many curious and other cases we often overview on this channel. But today's video will be a little bit different. This time we're going to talk about the cases when overconfident and brazy fans and also regular people that are not related to the sport decide to challenge real fighters. Please don't forget about the likes, comments with 4 words and subscribe to the channel. Here we go. We have a very funny story. If you remember, there was a famous American athlete who successfully competed in the 2000s and earlier years, Eric Esch, nicknamed Butterbean. This guy tried himself in different disciplines such as boxing, pro wrestling, kickboxing, mixed martial arts, and that's not the end of the list. During his long and vivid career, Eric had time to share the ring with many legendary performers and contribute to the development of martial arts. A dramatic difference between Esch and other fighters was that he didn't look super athletic, slim and fit, and also his signature boxing shorts in American flag style. He was a huge guy with a granite chin and hammers in both hands. And the story that happened to him dates back to 2002.
Hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville. Welcome to Jackass.
3, 2, 1, fight!
Back then, a popular American actor, Johnny Knoxville, who was one of the creators of the popular TV project Jackass, offered Butterbean to literally hit him in the face in the middle of the story in the USA. It might sound like a joke, but in reality, that's exactly what was going on. The concept of Jackass was based on a bunch of skaters doing silly, dangerous, and sometimes absolutely inappropriate things for entertainment. At first glance, what started as a joke and complete recklessness ran by a bunch of idiots in the end turned into a real phenomenon that became an inseparable part of the culture of the 2000s. Because despite their signature disclaimer, "Don't try this at home," all of their actions still inspired many imitators, gumming the YouTube up. In one of such episodes, Johnny Knoxville linked up with Eric Esch.
I'm Johnny Knoxville.
I'm Butterbean.
Today we're going to do a little boxing.
All these guys came to the local store. Near one of the counters, the guy drew some kind of a ring. To the cashier's dread watching them. The girl walked in front of the camera with the first round tablet and the action began. The first knockdown caught up to Johnny Knoxville already in the very beginning. Butterbean cracked down on a poor TV host with all the fury he had. Soon, this beating came to an end, which was quite expected, because the sounds with which Butterbean was smashing his opponent made everybody tremble. Eric Esch did not just knock Johnny Knoxville out, he literally beat the shit out of his head. Poor guy got away with a concussion and a cut on the head that later had to be sewn up.
Butterbean okay?
And by knockout in the first round, new champion, Butterbean. Woo, yeah!
The next video we would like to show you dates back to April of 2012. In those times, the fighter from Arizona, Chad Griggs, was competing in the world's best league. Even though he failed to show the best of him in the UFC, he looked rather good on the local scene. During one of the good precious fighting days, he was challenged by the fan called Creepy Nate Brinkley. This fight, if it even can be called that, took place inside some sort of a show. The point was that regular guys were given an opportunity to experience the full power of true athletes and last with them in the ring for at least 3 minutes.
I am known as Creepy Nate outside of the ring, and I kind of like that name. I was breastfed till I was 5 by my grandma, and that kind of irritates me, so I think that's part of the fighting lifestyle.
Going into the ring right now, I'm pretty excited. I think it's going to be a good time. These guys, there's no question these guys are coming at us and want to try and put the hurt on us, so it's going to be fun. We're just going to put our heads down and swing.
The fan was the first one to attack. He had time to throw only one straight shot and then got caught with a counterattack that viciously knocked him down. The referee counted to 8 and the fight resumed. This time, Creepy Nate decided to turn up and added more footwork. However, in reality, it looked like he got stuck in the ropes pattern. The referee stepped in again. The next little mini explosion happened to be the last one for Brinkley. Before the fight ultimately stopped, Griggs had time to land a couple more strikes, while the fan tried to explore the lower level. Overall, everything ended on a good note, and the regular guy realized what it's like to enter the ring with a professional.
He hits pretty hard?
Yeah, I've never felt anything like that.
Next, we have a similar case, but this time a more recent one. Do you remember a video from the beginning when Sean Strickland was talking about the guy that came to their gym, saying that he had more than 200 street fights and won all of them? That's what we're going to talk about. Right now, the world's best league has an active 35-year-old fighter named Chris Curtis. He has a record of 30 wins and 10 losses and competes in the middleweight division. Action Man is a rather experienced veteran who faced many worthy opponents on his way. However, in March of 2022, he met a 1 in a million opponent, no doubt about it. Think about it yourself. How many people with a record of 200-0 do you know? And Curtis got curious as well about what this guy was going to show. Apparently, a so-called street fighter followed an unwritten rule of don't hit the body but get hit back. Because already at the beginning of this video, one could clearly see that the guy in a grey t-shirt got very tired. Or more so, the subsequent kicks from Chris Curtis to different levels and overall light work in the style of sparring was only making things worse. His face expresses complete disappointment and a realization of the skill difference. But the video doesn't end here. As it became known later, after all we've seen, this street champion told Chris Curtis that he could have easily knocked him out, but decided not to do so. Chris was quick to react.
I'm offended. So no, bro, come on. Put your glove on or leave. Take your pick. Put your...
Overall, the following conflict led to nothing, but entertained Sean Strickland.
Sleep me. Prove it right now. No. You're saying it's cardio? You're saying it's a cardio issue? You're saying, bro, right now, I will change your life forever.
Then we have two more cases when very overconfident guys decided to challenge the masters of their craft. In this footage, you can see how a presumptuous guy in a white t-shirt shows his skills, or in other words, tries to survive in a fight against a professional boxer. The poor guy experienced his first knockdown after 20 seconds in, but the darer did not stop there. He managed to get up, but only to quickly drop down on his butt once again. After a short break, an insolent guy did not appreciate the evinced respect, which he immediately paid for, and to finish it off, a spectacular removal from the scene through the ropes. On the next video, an impudent street gangster with no outwear challenged a more experienced opponent. The vivid outcome of this you can see on your screen. The guy in blue gloves had time to rejoice the passers-by with spectacular pirouettes and ability to take a punch. He should be given credit for that. After landing on a solid ground a couple of times, he continued to offer resistance. But on the other hand, was it worth it? Throughout several minutes, the representative of Ruthless Streets only received an unanswered damage. What we can definitely say is that the guy learned a good lesson, and that's what matters the most. We gradually get to the most famous cases when amateurs face the professionals in the ring. In 2019, the legendary MMA fighter Alexander Emelianenko, who is the brother of the great Last Emperor, decided to try himself in the new discipline. His opponent happened to be another Russian athlete, but from a completely different sport, not related to martial arts at all. On November the 29th, the VTB Arena held a fight between Alexander Emelianenko and a professional powerlifter and strongman Mikhail Koklaev.
У нас есть, Саша, контракт, что мы должны, как говорится, как зеница ока...
Бить тебе нельзя до боя.
Не, Сань, ну ты так рассуждаешь.
Контракт,
поверь,
контракт.
Как сказал один мой знакомый приятель, он сказал, придумай, как тебя убить. Поэтому нужна задача дойти до боя.
Ну, у тебя задача дойти до ринга. Она простая.
Посмотрим.
The fight started off quickly. Despite an enormous difference in experience, the amateur strongman at first tried to pressure Emelianenko and attacked with singular jabs. Frankly speaking, since that moment, it was clear that Alexander was going to win. The reason for that was simple footwork and head movement, which you cannot lose after so many years in this sport. A Dark Reaper avoided any convergence attempts of Koklaev rather successfully. Emelianenko Jr. dismantled his opponent's chin to small details with no issues. Even though he passed his prime a long time ago, it was still easy for him to deal with such a level of opponents. After 2 minutes, he figured that the powerlifter was simply getting lost and didn't know how to act. In a calm and slow manner, Alexander was majestically taking away the ground under Mikhail's legs. The latter could only breathe heavily and try to catch his vis-a-vis with a chin up in the air. In the end, Alexander needed less than a round to earn a brilliant victory by a spectacular knockout.
Хотел растянуть, специально хотел, чтобы он восстановился и показал именно все, что может. Я мог бы еще быстрее закончить этот бой, все видели, но я дал возможность ему восстановиться, поднять руки, опять начать атаковать и все видели, что тренироваться и тренироваться надо.
And to conclude our video, we will tell you a story in the tradition of domestic dramaturgy, with the main boss or evil hero, whatever people prefer. To fill you in on the situation, let's start from the very beginning. There's a guy in our world called Charlie Zelenoff. He's an American with Russian roots who was a fan of boxing from the very childhood and watched it on TV on a regular basis. Even though physically this guy lives in the same world as we do, spiritually he is on another dimension, being the greatest boxer in history regardless of the weight class. On social media, he calls himself the pound-for-pound god, and in the bio he mentions a record of more than 300 wins with no losses. On top of that, Charlie claims to be the undisputed champion in 3 different organizations and the highest paid boxer in the history of the sport. And it would be okay if in 2010 an unrecognized star did not draw attention by uploading the videos on YouTube. On this footage, you can see how he jumps regular people in the gym, trying his best to do damage. The main thing is that initially he agrees to have a light sparring for the video, and when they accept it, Charlie cannons at them and declares himself the winner after a couple of punches. The first time Zelenoff was talked about dates back to 2011. Then he was actively calling out Floyd Mayweather Jr. Charlie promised to knock the legend out in 20 seconds. Despite big words, nobody paid attention to the Russian American. Then Zelenoff switched things up and came up with an idea of how to get to Mayweather Sr. The guy came to the great boxer's father's gym and started a fight. Not sparring, he suddenly jumped at an old man with his fist. Sure, Floyd Sr. did not expect such a villainy, but quickly figured things out and punished the young upstart for inappropriate behavior. After that, people started to talk about Charlie, and he found himself in a gym with Mike Tyson's son. The result of a beating and an attempt to escape can be seen on this video.
Okay, go.
No, hold up. Okay. All right.
Call it. Call it. Let's go. Let's go.
However, the epitome of a so-called career can be considered a fiery fight with Deontay Wilder himself. Zelenoff was calling him out on social media for a very long time, but didn't get a desired reaction. Over time, he somehow managed to get the phone number of the legendary boxer. He called him, continuously insulted him, calling hard names and allowing himself to throw dirt even onto his family. Eventually, Wilder accepted his offer and flew out to the gym situated in Los Angeles. Prior to sparring, he made Charlie sign a waiver of claims in case of severe bodily damage. And then he beat the whole life out of an overconfident and silly airhead. Godly karma in action as it is. Overall, that was the end of Charlie Zelenoff's career, who happened to be a pathetic internet troll with evident brain disorders. And that's the end of today's video. Leave your opinion in the comments below. Which of the aforementioned cases did you like the most? Hit the like button if you also think that it's not a good idea to challenge professional fighters. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you don't want Charlie Zelenoff to call you out. And that's it for today, friends. See you soon.